We have not gotten a lot of information about Season 2 of The Owl House, which might at first seem a little strange considering that it has been almost a year since Season 1 ended. Season 1 ended in August, I believe, and it's already May of the next year. The pandemic continues to cause problems after 14 months, even though, at least in my country, the United States, the majority of adults have been vaccinated. Which is good, but it does take a lot of time to revive what the theorist Theodor Adorno called the culture industry. The sooner it comes back, the better, but for now, let's content ourselves with this lovely little teaser we got for Season 2 of The Owl House, which I am sure will be absolutely excellent. I've recently been making a lot of Amphibia videos, and I love those videos, and I love that show, but I'm kind of worried about oversaturating YouTube with those videos. So let's take a slight change of direction and talk about what is going to happen in Season 2 of The Owl House, based on this little teaser we have received. The YouTube analyst Rebecca Rose has, through some feat of magic, managed to arrange an interview with Dana Terrace, the showrunner of The Owl House, and Matt Brawley, the showrunner of Amphibia. It's a charming interview, and I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't. But the highlight of the interview, as far as I'm concerned, is the little teaser we get from Ms. Terrace pertaining to the future of the Owl House. Now, as far as we know, this might be all the Owl House we get for a while. I hope the hiatus doesn't last too much longer, but it might. Hiatuses are very unpredictable, even at the best of times, and these, as I'm sure you are well aware, are not the best of times. The pandemic scrambled animation less than it did live action, but it still scrambled it. Hiatuses are painful to endure, especially if you're someone like me who makes a lot of videos about these kinds of shows and depends on people watching those videos. I first really started making waves with this channel with my videos on Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Dragon Prince, two properties about which there has been basically no news since 2019, or at least no notable news. So, while I don't think that we will have to wait quite that long for more information about the second season of The Owl House, let's still take time to treasure this little trailer that we have received, courtesy of Ms. Terrace. If you are familiar enough with The Owl House to be the kind of person who watches videos like this, I assume you are familiar with the intro sequence, which is quite charming and sets the stage for the magical show that unfolds. And it looks as though the intro sequence is going to be a little different this time, which is quite a shame. I quite like the Season 1 intro sequence. I love that expression from Amity, but it will still be interesting to see the show try and freshen some things up a bit. I doubt the sequence is going to be too different, considering how much time and commitment it is to create these stylized intro sequences. I highly doubt it's going to change that much. A significant analog might be Season 2 of Amphibia, which, like The Owl House, is airing on Disney. Amphibia's Season 2 intro sequence keeps a lot of the same footage that we see in Season 1, but it changes a few things near the end, and the few things that it changes offer quite a bit of foreshadowing considering how Season 2 is going to progress. Besides, the purpose of a title sequence is to keep the show recognizable to returning viewers. There is something ritualistic about it. I don't know about y'all, but I always watch the title sequences, even though I know every shot in them. They're a nice little liminal space that we enter from our world, and the title sequence holds us there for a little bit before allowing us to progress into the world of the show and revel in all the characters and lore and all that fascinating stuff that we come to see the show for. All the wonderful relationship dynamics. Anyhow, we see three figures in this little teaser Dana Terrace gives us. One of these figures is pretty clearly Lilith, as Rebecca points out in the interview. She is one of the more interesting characters in the show, and I'm quite curious about where they will end up taking her character going forward. What will indeed happen to her relationship with her sister Ida? Is that relationship completely healed? Or is there still a little bit of lingering bitterness and resentment? I'm skeptical. They have been estranged for so long that I have my doubts that the bond between them will ever be completely healed. Think about Stan Lee and Stan Ford Pines in Gravity Falls, the show on which Dana Terrace really made her name, working as a storyboard artist. There is a lot of love between them, and that love is strong enough to cross the gap that is their vastly divergent personalities, but there's still a little bit of stinging resentment between them, and it's pretty clear that they will never be quite as close as they were when they were younger, as hard as they try to repair that bond. Speaking of Ida, she might be one of the other two figures we see, though I am significantly less sure about that than I am about Lilith. Look at the teaser and judge for yourself. Anyway, I don't doubt that Ida will become even more important in Season 2 as we progress into the final conflicts with Emperor Belos, who I really hope has a significantly bigger role in Season 2 than he did in Season 1. Part of my favoritism toward him might just be because he is voiced by the rapturously talented Matthew Rhys, one of my all-time favorite actors, who played Philip in my favorite show of all time, The Americans. But even putting that aside, Belos is quite an intriguing figure. He's shaping up to be one of the more interesting television villains we've had in the last few years, and I want to know more about him. I think there's a lot more to him than meets the eye. He might have a tragic backstory, or it might be more complicated than that. I'm not saying that they should make him not a villain, but I'm saying his villainy might come from quite an interesting place, quite a personal place, and it would be interesting to know more about him. As for the third figure that we see in the wonderful teaser provided to us, it is probably Kikamura, which by itself raises a lot of interesting questions. Kikimora has a great design, I won't deny that, and I don't dislike the time we have spent with her throughout the first season of The Owl House, but she has never struck me as a particularly interesting character, a character with a lot of hidden depths to her, although I could be completely wrong about that. She certainly has not seemed like the kind of character who is important enough to command such a significant presence in the intro sequence. So that could mean one of two things. Either it's a tip-off that we're going to see a lot of Belos this season, because Kikimora is very much connected to Belos and his sphere. Or it could mean that Kikimora herself is going to become a significantly more nuanced character than what we have seen so far. There's going to be a lot more to her than Season 1 has thus revealed. Either possibility is quite interesting to me, and I rapturously anticipate the direction the show is going to take in the future. We'll have to see. There is still a lot left unsaid just by this little trailer, which is to be expected, but it is also quite disappointing. I guess we'll just have to hold off for a lot longer for more information about Season 2 of The Owl House. Nonetheless, I don't mean to come off as ungrateful. I am very thankful to Ms. Terrace for providing this wonderful little look into Season 2 of The Owl House. And I wonder what other wonderful surprises we will discover once Season 2 of The Owl House finally airs. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching The Owl House, or at least rewatch Season 1, and definitely watch Season 2 when it finally does air. And if you're an Owl House fan and you're looking for something to watch and you haven't seen Amphibia, I really recommend it. It's quite a clever, lovely little show, and it gets significantly better in the second half of Season 2. Those last few episodes of Season 2 are just phenomenal, and I can't recommend them highly enough. So anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. I can promise you that. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.